Welcome back to Bears News Fan Report, your daily home for fast update, real context, and the kind of football talk that respects your time. I'm opening tonight with something that changes how we think about January defense in Chicago. I'll give you the full read. Why our front office has been combing the league for outside corner help with true recovery speed. How a particular 6' -4 press man specialist fits our coverage family. What the latest league chatter actually says about his availability, and what a smart Bears-friendly offer would look like without mortgaging the future. I'll stack tape, traits, and cap logic first. Only quando o mapa estiver claro e o coloco o nome que voca queer ouvir. Stay with me, because if this hits, it rewrites how offenses call the middle of the field against us. Let me set the football problem we're trying to solve. Matt Eberflus' structure thrives when the outside corners win early downs on an island, so the safeties can play with vision and the nickel can cheat into the alley. We play a lot of match principles out of quarters and cover 3 variations eyes forward. Rally and tackle, squeeze windows, then mix in man on money downs when the call sheet demands it. That identity collapses when the boundary corner loses at the line, and we're forced to spin help, which opens the post and stretches our run fits. The antidote is a long corner who can press to the red line, carry vertical, and still recover when a QB throws a 50-50. That's really 30-70. Add top-end speed and you get drive-killing tip balls instead of DPI flags. Red zone fades that turn into field goals, and a pass rush that finally gets to rush on schedule. Now the profile that's been circled inside buildings across the league, a 4th-year pro in Seattle, listed at 6'4" and 210, with rare long speed and an outrageous wingspan. Early in his career, he lived on ball production double-digit interceptions already, 30-plus pass breakups, and he did it by stacking traits, not gimmicks. When he plays from press, he lands that inside hand, disrupts the release, and uses stride length to stay on top without grabbing. From off, he trusts his cushion, opens the hip late, and uses closing bursts to arrive at the catch point. Yes, there are warts. The tackling can be inconsistent. Eye discipline has wandered in certain zone look, and he can get grabby when he loses phase. But put him in a room that drills landmarks and leverage the way our staff does, and you unlock the best version, the eraser on the boundary, so the rest of the defense gets to play fast. That brings me to the league temperature, because this isn't just wish casting. 2 weeks before the deadline, multiple executives flagged that Seattle might listen on this corner, not because he can't play, but because scheme is destiny. Mike McDonald's defense in Seattle has leaned into different body type technique blends at corner. And when a staff quietly wants new ingredients, good players sometimes become available at good prices for the right fit. The reporting around the league called it a 50-50 proposition heading into the cutoff, with one caution light: Devin Witherspoon's health and how thin Seattle was willing to get at the position. The deadline came and went with no move, but that signal remains valuable if a team is open to talks in October. They'll at least pick up the phone again when calendars flip and asset values reset. Now, why the Bears? And why now? Because the roster math says a long CB2 who can live in solo coverage opposite our top corner lets Eberflus unlock more disguise on 3rd down. Imagine a nickel package with Jalen locking one side, this length-speed unicorn on the other, Kyler Gordon tightening windows in the slot, and the post safety free to lurk instead of babysit. Front-wise, that means we can rush 4 and still hit the QB's first read with color in the window. Suddenly simulated pressure looks scarier because the quicks aren't easy and the sideline go ball isn't a bailout. Against the North bigger receivers, back shoulder merchants, quarterbacks who test the boundary length matters. On tape, this corner has stacked dominant reps against above-the-rim targets. Squeeze, lean, look and lean at the catch point, punch the ball through the pocket. Those 2 plays per game are the difference between niche drive and punt team. Let's be grown-ups about risk. Tackling. You're buying a cover corner first, and you coach the finish. This staff has improved strike zone and leverage angles across position groups. That's part of the bet. Eyes. When his keys are clean, he's clean. When he freelances, the ball finds the void. That's fixable with rules. No hero angles. Overlap the safety. Live to play 2nd down. Penalties. Teach with hands inside. Trust the length and emphasize lose slow. I'm not selling the perfect player. I'm selling the rare profile that lets us call our defense on our terms. Let's talk cost and offer shape, because that's what you DM me for. The league didn't see a first-rounder changing hands at the deadline for this profile. The more likely frameworks were a day 2 pick plus a late sweetener, or a player plus pick package where the outgoing player fills a need for Seattle. Now that the deadline is passed, you're in 2 windows: an extension and trade conversation in the spring, or a draft weekend pivot if Seattle retools the room. Chicago's pitch should be simple and respectful. A 2026 second that carries modest protections based on snap count, playing time, plus a conditional late pick that escalates with PBU's INTS, paired with a depth player at a spot where Seattle values cheap snaps. That's a fair valuation for a ball production corner with elite measurables and some coaching left to do. If Seattle insists on a 2026 first, you hold the line and improve the pick protections and the escalators. He's a high-level fit, but we're not bidding against ghosts. Cap mechanics are straightforward. He's on a rookie deal, so the acquisition cost this year will be light. The decision point is the extension. Chicago can structure a 4-year new money layer that keeps early cap hits sane, uses roster bonuses to maintain flexibility, and aligns guaranteed money with age prime. You want him peaking while the rest of the secondary hits its stride, not dragging an anchor year in 2029. There's also the optionality to play the tag game down the line if the marketplace goes sideways. But the smart play is clarity. If the fit pops in-house, lock the player and price certainty before his stats explode in our system. Now, let's put this in a game, because theory needs grass. 3rd and 7 against the Trips bunch. We set the long corner to the single receiver. They try the ISO back shoulder. He squeezes to the sideline, watches eyes, plays through hands, PBU, punt. Second quarter, they move their big X into the slot to escape the length. We check a match call, carry it through the seam release, pass it at 8 yards with outside leverage, and our safety is free to rob the dig. Interception lives because the outside corner did his job without help. Red zone. Offensive coordinator calls the easy fade. Our guy pinches the split, gets on top early, and the QB comes off it. Now the ball goes to a crowded crosser, and our hook defender finishes the drive. That's 3 calls our DC gets back when length erases easy buttons. There's a hidden benefit on special teams and situational ball too. With a long corner who can win and press, your end of half calls get bolder. You can play quarters lock on the boundary, protect the post, and steal one aggressive call with a simulated pressure without surrendering a 40-yard prayer. 2-minute defense is no longer a panic zone. It's an opportunity to force an underneath throw inbounds and drain clock while the pass rush earns a check. Even your red zone chart gets thicker. More trap calls, more late rotations, more comfort playing 5 under 2 deep because you trust the fade denial without a second body. Let me answer the 3 biggest questions I know you'll drop in the comments. 1. Does the ball production translate, or is it a system mirage? It translates. He has true catch point skills and closes like a receiver. You don't fluke your way into double-digit picks this early unless you arrive on time and finish through contact. 2. Can he survive against elite route runners who win with pace and deception, not size? That's where coaching meets humility. He'll get crossed up if the feet die, teach patient feet and press, take the inside away, and trust the make-up speed. With our pass rush threatening, the ball comes out on rhythm. If he wins the first 2 steps, he wins the rep. 3. How does he change the corner room? Iron sharpens iron. A length speed guy forces your smaller corners to master technique, and he forces quarterbacks to hold the ball that extra click. The entire defense feels that. Now the reveal. Because the dots connect, the name on the whiteboard is Rick Woolen of the Seattle Seahawks, and the league smoke around him before the deadline wasn't nothing. It was a tell that scheme fit and future dollar planning might open a window. The clock hit 4 p.m. ET on November 4th with no move, but the takeaway is not dead story. It's bookmarked for spring, and it's a fit Chicago should. Explore with intent the moment phones are allowed to light up again. The traits are real, the need is present, and the price sits in a range where smart teams buy on fit, not on past press clippings. My on-field verdict is straightforward. Woolen opposite RCB1 would let this defense live in the calls. It prefers quarters match that looks like zone and feels like man third down disguises that survive on the boundary, and red zone snaps where the fade stops being a coin flip. You'd see fewer cheap holds on late back shoulder, more tips to the middle, and a pass rush with one extra beat to cash. Is there development to finish? Yes. Is the juice worth the squeeze? In this system, with this coaching staff, and with our division's receiver profiles, absolutely. Before I close, I want your temperature. If the Bears can get Woolen for a day 2 pick plus a conditional late, do you sign off? Would you include a depth player if it keeps the pick cleaner? How would you structure his extension front-loaded security or rolling guarantees tied to playing time and PBUs? And how do you see the fit against our division's top 2 receivers by height and target share? Are you pressing every early down or mixing catch technique to bait the slant? Drop your blueprint below Minute Maps travel rule. Red Zone calls because this channel lives when Bears fans argue like coaches and think like cap analysts. Here's my concise landing. The signal around Rick Woolen's availability was real before the deadline. The fit with Chicago's coverage world is obvious, and the acquisition cost lives in a range the Bears can stomach without compromising the draft plan. If the front office wants to turn this defense from feisty to finish, this is the kind of length speed bet you make while the core is still on the upslope. If he's on the board this spring, make the call.